When I started teaching as a university professor, I did what we all do when we start out as educators. I relied on my intuitions about what good education looks like, and I let everyone in our little secret my intuition were really bad. They based on our experience in the lecture model of education. That's where we talk at people for really long periods of time, give them some textbook to read, and then give them a test. That's what I did. I talk at people kind of right now. That was my original sense, but I didn't stop there. Years later, when I was working as an education consultant, I was asked to design some e-learning, and I hadn't done that before, and you will never guess how I went about it. By injecting all the same terrible intuitions into it, and it looks something like this. Virtual instructor in front of a virtual whiteboard delivering virtual bullet points. I'm pretty sure when we thought of using virtuality education, this is what he had in mind. Unfortunately, this is what e-learning looks like today, and no one learning anything from it. Think about how absurd that is. So how did we get here? Well, I talked about intuition, but let's actually go a little bit deeper. Our earliest instincts around education are actually based on storytelling. We know this from archaeology data. People telling other people's stories, people teaching other people using human stories. How we learn and is how we communicate it. Fast forward 40,000 years, we now have beautiful, scalable, mobile enabled e-learning that we can use to teach people on opposite ends of the world the same thing at the same time. But somewhere between the cases and the clicking, we got so focused on building this technology that we forgot about the one and only thing that matters in education, the people. E-learning can be used to teach everyone, everywhere, good hygiene practices to stop the spread of disease. E-learning can be used to teach everyone, everywhere, sustainable living practices to combat the climate crisis. These are global problems. They require global solutions, and e-learning should be making a contribution to them. But it isn't, because we've forgotten about the people, we've forgotten about the way people actually learn. If there's one thing that everyone in this room can do to start refocusing our efforts on people and start doing e-learning that works, it is start telling story again. Not because it's what we used to do, but because the science says it actually works. We know that scenario and story-based learning can accelerate our time to expertise on a given task. It does that because stories stimulate the way we learn through experience. We know that scenario story-based learning is more engaging than click and quiz e-learning. The reason why that story creates empathy. Empathy in turn creates personal meaning, and it's personal meaning, not clicking, that drives engagement. And finally, we know that scenario and or story-based learning is the best way to teach complex skills like problem solving, collaborations, and creativity. Best prescribe the skills that the workforce of today and tomorrow need to solve our biggest problems.